Hi, here on the Bible Forum. I want to talk to you a little bit of some cultural issues. There's somebody out there named Cardi B, C-A-R-D-I B, just the letter B. And she has a new song. Well, actually, there's two women, Cardi B and somebody called Megan the Stallion, T-H-E-E, Stallion. The song is called WAP, W-A-P. It's the epitome of female empowerment. Now, I can't repeat what the letters stand for. It's vulgar in the extreme. Cardi B used to be a stripper. The song is being, quote, oriented toward young teens. Matt Walsh wrote on the Daily Wire, I can't reprint any of the lyrics, but suffice it to say that the song begins and ends with a refrain much that confirms those declarations. Second, just because something has been around for a while doesn't mean we have to accept it. To the contrary, the longer the offense has been with us, the greater the outrage should be. He's talking about sexual immorality. Thirdly, the song is being celebrated. According to the LA Times, Cardi B and Megan the Stallion's song/video is a, quote, savage, nasty, sex-positive triumph. According to a publication called The Guardian, Cardi B and Megan the Stallion's WAP should be celebrated, not scolded. According to Teen Vogue, WAP reaction shows how threatened men are by female sexuality. Cardi B and Megan the Stallion's new anthem has brought out an age-old debate over female sexuality. And to do so apparently means exposing the female form for all the world to see and to lust after. It's called a debate. It's not a debate. It's gross immorality. I looked at the video. I fast-forwarded the video. The lyrics are stupid. They don't mean anything. And it's just senseless. Two women just going from room to room and just acting all sexual and wearing all different outfits. And I don't know what they're saying or singing. But it comes out, and in about 20 minutes, it sold 80 million copies. You know, that's just where we are. ProphecyNews.com wrote this week, or published, a story about a teacher in a school district in Philadelphia lamenting the increased chance of parental oversight if classes are taught online amid the coronavirus crisis, especially when it came to so-called sex education. It's a guy, his name is Matthew K, K-A-Y. He said, quote, I am most intrigued by the damage that helicopter and snowplow parents can do in honest conversations about gender/sexuality. Teacher works for the Philadelphia's Science Leadership Academy. He said, we'll never be quite sure who is overhearing the discourse. And what does this do for our equity/inclusion work, whatever that means? How much have students depended on the somewhat secure barriers of our physical classrooms to encourage vulnerability? How many of us have installed some version of what happens here stays here to help this along? He's talking about teachers and classrooms and your children in rooms with people you don't know, telling them things you'll never hear and programming them in a certain direction. Kay went on to mention, quote, honest conversations about gender/sexuality. Conversations as an issue where parents who are involved in their children's education, he says, would be unhelpful. He admitted that conservative parents are my chief concern, but said that the damage can come from the left as well. This is not your grandparents' public school system. This is not a school system I grew up in. I got out in 1961, which means I started in the 40s. It was safe. Oh, yeah, the bullies might come down the stairs and pop you without you knowing what's going on in high school, but you didn't have to worry about what teachers were teaching your children. And you wonder why the Christian school movement took off in the 60s, and why private schools are growing, and why parents want to teach their children at home. You have people like this nut who has been programmed to actually believe that exposing children to all sorts of things they're not equipped to handle, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, is still a better way to go. We got drag queens coming into libraries to read stories to 3, 4, 5, and 6-year-olds, people. I had pasta last night. You don't know what that means? That phrase to Generation Z, and to a lesser degree to millennials, is code. Pasta is apparently code for a topic that produces anxiety, depression, or potentially suicidal thoughts. Illustration is given of a girl who wrote on TikTok that her mom, quote, just made her favorite pasta, end of quote. This was followed by a stream of well wishes and reasons to stay in the home. She was talking about a serious disagreement she had had with her mom, one which would motivate her to move out. You would have seen that text and you would not have known anything. The phrase is code. I finished my shampoo and conditioner at the same time. Meaning? I have no idea. It's another code phrase these kids are using. And you have to know the code to know what's being said. The codes, or the use thereof, hides what the person is actually feeling or experiencing. Not hiding it from people who know what the words mean, but hiding it from adults, parents, teachers, friends, neighbors, people who could help. The first line of help, support, is generally conversation. And in this particular case, only young people know what's being said, what's being felt, or why. When people are struggling with emotions, with thoughts, or worse, the need is to talk with someone who has the experience and the ability to offer real help. Hiding behind these cult phrases, doing this only online, there's a whole generation of children who are never going to get that help until it's too late. Where are the parents? Why do they not know the emotional condition of their child? Why do they not know what that child is going through, feeling, by the way they walk, or the way they sit in a chair, or the way they eat their meal? Oh, that's right, we don't eat meals together. Children give off clues, but only to people who are paying attention. And this one is very dangerous. There's a war brewing out on the West Coast. We call it the left coast. It's the state of California, initially against Grace Community Church, but now mounting an attack against pretty much all churches. LA Mayor Eric Garcetti on Wednesday last said he is authorizing the Department of Water and Power to shut off utilities at houses, businesses, and large gatherings within 48 hours that are violating health orders related to COVID-19. Now, although churches weren't specifically mentioned, the term large gathering has been used by the city to include houses of worship. Garcetti's order came the same week Grace Community Church in LA asserted that the congregation would not be obeying the statewide order to stop meeting. He says, "Tonight I'm authorizing the city to shut off LA Department of Water and Power Service in the egregious cases in which houses, businesses, and other venues are hosting unpermitted large gatherings. Starting on Friday night, if LAPD responds and verifies that a large gathering is occurring at a property, could be your home, and we see these properties reoffending time and time again, the police, will provide notice and initiate the process to request that DWP shut off service within the next 48 hours. Churches in multiple counties, including LA County, are prohibited by an order from Governor Gavin Newsom from gathering indoors at all, period. In response to the recent state order requiring churches in California to limit or suspend all meetings indefinitely, we, the pastors and elders of Grace Community Church, respectfully inform our civic leaders that they have exceeded their legitimate jurisdiction, and faithfulness to Christ prohibits us from observing the restrictions they want to impose on our corporate worship services. MacArthur delivered a sermon in late July and told the church's members, quote, "We must obey God rather than men." So wrote the elders at Grace Community Church about the city's ban on church meetings during the pandemic. According to a press release by the Thomas More Society, the city of LA threatened MacArthur with a daily fine of $1,000. Now, technically, they threatened the church, not the pastor. MacArthur's not going to pay that. In response, Trump's personal attorneys, Jenna Ellis and Charles Lemandry, will represent MacArthur and Grace Community Church. MacArthur told the Christian Post, "I stand firm with Grace Community Church, its elder board, and Pastor MacArthur in biblical truth and the protections American churches are provided by our Constitution. I look forward to advocating on their behalf and hopefully encouraging other pastors and churches to also have the courage to stand firm, encouraging them that the church is essential." The Thomas More Society likewise expressed support for MacArthur in a statement on Wednesday. So what's going on? Well, the state of California is using the pretext of COVID-19 to attempt to force churches to close indefinitely. That's Pastor MacArthur's opinion. This legitimate, overbroad, unconstitutional order to indefinitely cease assembly and exercising their religion and sincerely held religious beliefs is forcing Grace Community Church to defy the order and continue exercising their rights, seeking shelter in the guaranteed religious freedom protections of the United States and California constitutions. Pastor MacArthur and Grace Community Church are not disobeying the Constitution. That would be against God's Word, which teaches us to obey those who are in authority over us. Rather, it is California's governor and Mayor Eric Garcetti who are defying their constitutional obligation to protect religious freedom and church assembly. The law group expressed themselves. On Monday, MacArthur told Fox News host Shannon Bream that Christ is the head of our church, not Governor Newsom, not Mayor Garcetti, and that never before has the government here in the U.S. of A. invaded the territory that belongs only to the Lord Jesus Christ and told us we can't meet, that we can't worship, that we can't sing together. There's no power given to government to make those kinds of calls against us, he asserted. We love our neighbors. We're not spreading anything but the gospel. We have a presidential election brewing. We have polarizing opposites being put on display. We have folks on one side who pretty much hate everything America stands for except the freedom to make money. And on the other side, we have people, as ungodly as they may be, who understand there's a God and that understands that there are rules and regulations governing social and political and educational and all the other sorts of things that go on. Joe Biden is now on the stump. He's standing up periodically in places to make statements about stuff. He made a statement about Islam. This goes back several weeks now. And he said, and I quote, "I wish we taught more in our schools about the Islamic faith." There are a number of things about that statement that I want to share with you. One is that Islam is not a faith system. Christianity is a faith system. Islam is a religion. Religions are about works. You do your works religiously. That's what this word's about. Also, Islam is a religion about global domination. They write about it in the Quran. Surah 48, verse 27. And I quote, "It is He that has sent forth His apostle with guidance and the true faith, so that He may exalt it above all religions. Sufficient is God as a witness." Thirdly, its tools are war, death, domination. History shows it to us, but in their so-called Bible, in the Quran, Surah 9:5, "Fight and slay the pagans," in parentheses, all who reject Islam. Slay the pagans wherever you find them, and seize them, confine them, and lie in wait for them in every place of ambush. I would say a resort of ambush. The word Islam does not mean peace. It means submission. Only in submission to Allah will you find peace. And Islam has conquered through war and domination for generations. Today, it's working through subterfuge and deceit. Here, in Muslim countries, it's different. And the word jihad means religious fighting. To fight in the cause of Allah. And every time they fight, it's a jihad. Hadith 9, verse 4 says, "Wherever you find infidels, anybody who's not a believing Muslim, kill them. Don't try to convert them. Kill them. You find them, kill them. For whoever kills them shall have reward on the day of resurrection." That's what we're up against. We also now have a vice presidential candidate for the Democrat Party. They like to call themselves Democratic, but they never have been. Her name is Kamala Harris, or Kamala Harris. If you say it one way, you insult her. If you say it the other way, it's okay. I don't know which is the right way. I'll call her Senator Harris. She's a Democrat from California. She is ranked as the most liberal of all U.S. senators. Now you know why they picked her? She came in second only to Bernie Sanders, who's not a Democrat. He's independent from Vermont. Followed by Senator Kirsten Gillibrand from New York and Senator Jeff Merkley from Oregon. National Right to Life says Harris is the poster child for the extreme pro-abortion position of the Democrat, they call it Democratic, it's not Democratic, Democrat Party. In a news release, National Right to Life noted that Harris opposes the Hyde Amendment and supports taxpayer funding of abortion. She has opposed legislation that would require a baby born alive during an abortion to be afforded the same degree of care that would apply to any other child at the same gestational age. In February, Harris helped block the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act in the Senate. She opposed a bill that would prohibit abortion when the unborn child can feel pain, called the Pain Capable Unborn Child Protection Act. She opposed that. A mother. Last year in a debate, Harris also pledged as president to use the Justice Department to block state-level pro-life laws. With a president who is titular, meaning in name only, and old enough to either die in office or be simply a face, this election is critical. Now, they all are, but this one's unique. Judicial Watch posted a list recently of the states that have no voter ID. You go to the polling place, you just tell them who you are, you get a ballot. Nobody knows if you actually live there, if that's your real name, if you're registered. They don't know. The states are Idaho, California, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Minnesota, Massachusetts, North Carolina, on hold because of a court injunction, New England, New Jersey, New Mexico, Nevada, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Vermont, Wyoming, and the District of Columbia. See a problem here anywhere? In June and July of this year, Fox News was the highest rated television channel in the primetime hours of 8 to 11 p.m. Not just on cable, not just among news networks, of all television. The average live Fox News viewership in those hours outstripped cable rivals like CNN, MSNBC, ESPN, as well as the broadcast networks of ABC, CBS, NBC. All of this according to Nielsen. That 3-hour slot is a narrow but significant slice of TV real estate, and it's exceedingly rare for a basic cable channel to outrank the big three broadcasters, which are available in more households and offer a wide variety of programming. And have you listened to Rush Limbaugh lately? As he tells you how many listeners he has? I remember when it was in the tens of thousands. It is now in the multiple hundreds of thousands. I think it's up over 600,000, but I'm not sure. That sounds like an awful lot. Makes you wonder about the election.